What does it take to become a legend? To rise from humble beginnings, face every struggle, and defy the odds to achieve the impossible. For one man, it wasn't just about talent, it was about relentless passion, unwavering resilience, and an inner drive to prove the world wrong. This is the story of Roger Federer, arguably the greatest tennis player ever to walk on a court. Roger Federer, a name synonymous with grace, power, and sheer brilliance, is more than just a tennis champion. His journey from a young boy with big dreams to one of the most revered athletes of all time is a testament to the power of resilience, self-discovery, and dedication. Born in Basel, Switzerland, Roger's story is not just about winning titles, it's about the road he traveled, filled with struggles, personal growth, and triumph. Roger Federer was born on August 8, 1981, in Basel, Switzerland, a city steeped in culture and tradition, but not exactly known for producing tennis legends. The son of a Swiss father and a South African mother, Roger's early life wasn't surrounded by luxury or fame. His parents were not wealthy, but they provided him with a stable, loving environment that nurtured his dreams. From a young age, Roger was captivated by the sport. Unlike many of his peers who came from tennis dynasties, Roger's beginnings were modest. There were no private courts or exclusive coaching sessions, just a boy with a racket and a dream. But the odds were stacked against him. He wasn't a child prodigy in the traditional sense. The competitive scene in Switzerland was tough, and Roger had to make his way through a system that wasn't particularly geared toward helping a future tennis great. Despite these early obstacles, Federer's talent and passion for the game were undeniable. The courts weren't pristine, and the competition was mostly local, but Federer's determination to succeed burned bright. It was clear that something special was emerging in the young Swiss player. His journey had begun, but the road ahead would be anything but easy. For all his raw talent, Federer's early years in the game were marked by personal struggles, particularly in controlling his emotions. As a teenager, he had a fiery temper that often led to on-court outbursts and frustration. His inner passion, which fueled his drive to succeed, often turned into a source of turmoil. It was a delicate balancing act for Federer how to channel his intense emotions into his game without letting them get the best of him. In these formative years, Federer was often his own worst enemy. His temper and emotional volatility kept him from reaching his full potential. The promise was there, but the consistency wasn't. His self-doubt and inner conflict led to setbacks, losses in crucial matches, a sense of failure despite his talent, and an identity crisis as he tried to figure out what kind of player he wanted to be. But as with all great journeys, it was the struggle that shaped Federer's destiny. In quiet moments away from the glare of the spotlight, he began to realize that greatness wasn't just about talent. It was about control, emotional, mental, and physical. He understood that to be the best, he had to master his mind as much as his body. It wasn't enough to hit beautiful shots, he had to conquer his demons. In 2001, Federer met Peter Carter, an Australian coach who would play a pivotal role in shaping his career. Under Carter's mentorship, Federer learned to harness his fiery temperament. Carter's influence helped Federer understand that true greatness comes from within. It was about discipline, focus, and consistency. Through Carter, Federer began to find balance not just in his game but in his approach to life. The transformation was slow but sure. Federer's mental fortitude improved, and so did his performances on the court. He had always been physically gifted, but it was the mental strength he developed that allowed him to break through the barriers of his early years. The angry young man who once smashed rackets in frustration was slowly evolving into a champion. In 2001, at just 19 years old, Federer faced one of his most defining moments. At Wimbledon, in a match that would change the course of tennis history, Federer defeated the reigning champion Pete Sampras in a 5-set thriller. This victory was more than just a personal achievement, it was a statement. Roger Federer had arrived, and the tennis world was forever changed. But Federer was aware that this win alone wasn't enough. He knew that to prove he was more than just a one-hit wonder, he had to win consistently. He had to push himself beyond his limits and rise above his rivals. The true test of a champion isn't just in the wins, but in the ability to maintain excellence over time. Federer's career was defined not only by his victories, but by the fierce rivalries that shaped an entire era of tennis. the explosive Rafael Nadal, with his dominance on clay, and the relentless Novak Djokovic, whose mental toughness pushed Federer to the brink. Each of these rivals presented challenges that tested Federer's resolve. It wasn't enough for Federer to beat one of them. He had to prove he could compete at the highest level consistently, despite the ever-present competition. Federer's rivalry with Nadal, in particular, became one of the most famous in tennis history. Nadal's ability to dominate Federer on clay seemed unbeatable, while Federer's elegance and finesse on grass and hard courts stood as a stark contrast. It was the classic clash of styles, raw power versus precision, that captivated tennis fans worldwide. And then there was Djokovic, whose unwavering determination and physicality made him a formidable opponent. But Federer's greatness wasn't just about his victories. What set him apart was his ability to bounce back after every loss. His resilience in the face of adversity was perhaps his greatest strength. Federer's losses were not failures, they were lessons, and he learned from them with a maturity that would define his career. After years of struggle, sacrifice, and countless hours of training, Federer reached the pinnacle of his career. In 2009, Federer won his 15th Grand Slam title at Wimbledon, surpassing Pete Sampras's record. But this was just the beginning of a remarkable period of dominance. Federer continued to win major titles, cementing his place as one of the greatest tennis players of all time. In total, Federer would go on to win 20 Grand Slam singles titles, an unprecedented achievement in tennis history. His elegance on the court, his fluidity of movement, and his adaptability to different surfaces made him a force to be reckoned with. He had redefined what it meant to be a tennis champion, pushing the boundaries of what was possible in the sport. Federer's impact on tennis went beyond just winning trophies. His influence on the sport cannot be overstated. He elevated the level of play, attracting a new generation of fans and inspiring countless young athletes around the world. Federer's sportsmanship, humility, and commitment to excellence made him a role model both on and off the court. Off the court, Federer became a philanthropist and a global ambassador for the sport. His charitable work, particularly through the Roger Federer Foundation, has helped provide education for children in Africa. His efforts to give back to the community are a testament to his character and the values that guided him throughout his career. Federer's legacy is not just in the titles he won or the records he set. It is in the way he played the game with grace, with humility, and with a relentless passion that inspired generations of tennis players. Federer's journey was not just one of athletic success, but of personal growth, emotional maturity, and a deep commitment to his craft. After nearly 2 decades at the top of the sport, Federer announced his retirement from tennis in 2022. His final matches were emotional farewells to a sport that had been his life. His departure marked the end of an era defined by Federer's brilliance, resilience, and the unforgettable moments he created on the court. Roger Federer's journey from the streets of Basel to the pinnacle of tennis is a testament to the power of the human spirit. His story is one of struggle, triumph, and ultimately greatness. Federer has earned his place in history, not just as the greatest tennis player of his time, but as a true legend, a symbol of resilience, dedication, and passion. Greatness is never handed to you, it is earned, and Roger Federer earned his place in tennis history as the maestro of the court, a player who not only changed the game but defined it.